What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back here on PlayStation Source, and no one could have predicted the success that Helldivers 2 would have. Being a sequel from a top-down arcade shooter released in 2015 for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation Vita, the definitive way to play Helldivers, by the way. The definitive way to play Helldivers. People enjoyed Helldivers 1, including myself, but the way PlayStation seemingly kind of just let Helldivers 2 come out to no real marketing push 2 days after another live service game from Square Enix with Foam Stars, also that being on PS Plus, and during a month packed with other games like Pacific Drive and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that are PlayStation exclusive, it felt like PlayStation had no faith in this game. Even I thought it was going to be fun for a few weeks or so and then kind of just fade into the background like every other live service attempt across the games industry today. Off the trailers, I even thought that the game looked a little rough in terms of performance, and the environments looked pretty okay but pretty barren as well and empty, and it just didn't seem like it would be that much fun. I went so far as to not even make an all info video on it like I was planning to do so in the beginning, because it just felt like it wasn't really gonna make that much splashes overall in the community, but we were all wrong, as you can all probably see. The game is incredible, straight up, I'll say it. Like, I am having so much fun with Helldivers 2. But I did want to highlight in this video what Helldivers 2 is, what I like and dislike about it, and most importantly, what element I think it has that really makes it stick for a lot of players, and why I think this game has the potential to grow to be the exact multiplayer game that PlayStation has been looking for. Before I get right into it, you'll be seeing some incredibly close gameplay where me and some random person online teamed up for a really hard mission here on Helldivers 2, and I am shocked that we made it out, guys. You will see the full drama unfold in this. I'm sending messages back and forth to this guy like we barely made out of this Helldivers 2 mission, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So what is Helldivers 2? Helldivers 2 is a third-person action co-op multiplayer PvE game developed by Arrowhead Game Studios, the original developers behind Helldivers 1 back in 2015. In a similar vein on how Returnal felt like Housemarque's prior arcade-style games, Helldivers 2 really does feel a lot like the original Helldivers, but in a third-person perspective. You embody a Helldiver, a soldier fighting for Super Earth in the far-flung future, and this is the direct quote of what it means to be a Helldiver. Quote, to travel the galaxy, visit the capitals, meet unusual people, and represent the Federation. Secure the resources Super Earth needs to preserve the way of life that it has created on future Earth, and spread managed democracy throughout the galaxy. Become more than you are. Become a hero, become a legend. Okay, all that propaganda ad type of thing aside, okay, about the Helldivers and all that, this Helldiver initiative is done by going across the galaxy in your ship and embarking on a plethora of different missions on a variety of different planets with diverse biomes and enemies to attack. Then having a 2-minute last stand at the exfil point on the map to extract and leave with what you acquired on your missions. Currently at launch, we can fight the bugs or the automatons, and these missions range from evacuating civilians, uploading data from crash escape pods, exterminating bugs, killing the very brutal automatons, and more. It's a bunch of different little like mini games that you do and mini objectives on the map, and they last around 10 minutes to 40 minutes, so they can really depend on whichever mission you complete. You might have multiple objectives to do in a given match when you're on a planet, and so that may take upwards of 40 minutes to an hour depending, but there are quicker ones as well that are just, hey, kill these automatons, kill these bugs, and it only lasts around 10 minutes or so. The difficulty of the given mission is chosen by the player before they even deploy, so it could be from really easy to ultra Helldiver difficulty on hard mode, and alongside the main objectives that you must complete that are in an orange tone of color, you also have a light blue colored objectives that are more optional and side things to do that can give you bonus XP and bonus resources to upgrade yourself, your ship, and unlock more weaponry and stratagems to use in future missions. Now, these stratagems really make Helldivers unique in offering deployable weaponry, equipment, and armaments from your ship to the planet that you're on to assist on your missions. These can be powerful LMGs, Gatling sentries to provide cover fire, they can be airstrikes as well. There's a lot of different stratagems that you can pick that can really turn the tide and give you a successful encounter when things get tough. While the stratagems can be incredibly deadly to enemies, Helldivers 2 carries on its friendly fire off element from the original game, causing for some hilarious interactions in game when a player accidentally kills another player due to a misplaced airstrike, or simply being in the line of fire of their own weapon, or a sentry gun's direction of fire. It's gonna happen a lot. You will definitely experience a lot of death in Helldivers 2, but the fact that anything can kill anyone at any time in Helldivers 2 really makes for an engaging PvE experience that requires coordination, planning, and last minute thinking when things inevitably go left at the exfil point. Next up, let's discuss things such as the price, platform availability, and the nature of this game being a day-and-date release on PS5 and PC as well. So unlike the original game's 9-month delayed release from PlayStation hardware to PC, Helldivers 2 was released day and date on both PlayStation 5 and PC for $40. While the jury is still out on if PlayStation will reconsider keeping single-player game releases only to PlayStation 5 at launch, with a PC launch later on down the road to stimulate the game's sales, Helldivers 2 launching on both platforms at the same time has proven to be incredibly successful, as we see here with the game rising in top concurrence on PC. Even just yesterday, as of this recording here on February 20th, it was the most played game at a certain point on PC, on Steam specifically, at one point during the day yesterday, which is absolutely incredible, topping over 450k concurrence. Like, this game is performing very, very well on PC, and Sony would be kind of odd to not at least look at this and garner some sort of information from this release. But maybe this is all a part of the strategy here, which we see here with future multiplayer games coming from PlayStation that are also following suit with PS5 and PC launches, like Concord from Firewall Studios and Fair Games from Haven Studios. They have all been announced for PS5 and PC in their announcement trailers last year. So I think it's fair to say that future multiplayer titles from PlayStation, the live service games that we've all been talking about that may be a little bit dicey, maybe won't play out as well as PlayStation wants them to, but at the bare minimum here, we are seeing here that they are likely going to probably still follow suit with that cadence of PS5 and PC day and date launches. Now, we still have yet to see if they will reconsider with single player games. That's a whole different other discussion, maybe for a whole nother video, but it's safe to say that, hey, you know what? PS5 and PC seems to be working very well for at least the multiplayer games. So to a certain degree, it's like, why wouldn't it also work for the single player games? Now, before I gush about the game and why I love it so much, alongside the element that I think is very specific to this game that is making it stick with a lot of players, we do gotta, of course, bring up the elephant in the room, the server issues, the waiting queues, and the performance issues of the game itself, right? So the performance issues haven't been that crazy. I do have this one clip I'm showing you here on screen where I did have this weird bug where my whole game just buckled and bogged down to like 10 to 15 frames a second. It was really brutal. The only reason why I stuck it through this match was because I wanted to get the exfil to at least get the resources that I was able to acquire in the game, but it was brutal. And this has happened to me only one time, but I have been seeing this happen to a lot of other people. But hey, this could be alleviated in a future update that has probably really been out by now at this point of recording. But I say this just to point out that, you know, the game is not a polished perfect thing, right? Like, there's some weird animations in the NPCs in the ship as well that don't look of a high quality per se, but nonetheless, man, the real quality is in the gameplay and then the visuals of the game that we'll go over in a little bit here. But there's also, of course, the server issues that we definitely got to address. Now, I do got to give kudos to Arrowhead Game Studios. They have been on the clock, around the clock, making sure that people are informed about the server issue status right now, how they are alleviating it, getting more server bandwidth, getting more server load inquiries, and all of that has just been maxing out. As soon as they extend the server amount that people can log on to a given server, it gets already filled as soon as they update it. So they are just working as hard as they can to possibly alleviate these server issues. And ultimately, you know, there has to be some blame. I gotta keep it real. There has to be some blame here put on Sony as well for this, because this is their IP. This is a second party title that is exclusive to their console as well as the PC platform. And, you know, to just not really see how big this game was going to be. Now, obviously, you know, you don't have, you know, like a crystal ball, right, where they were going to know how crazy this game would have done. But we can see here that they really weren't that confident in this game's release overall, putting it, like I said before in the intro, next to Foam Stars, next to Pacific Drive, next to to 7 Rebirth, which again, 7 Rebirth is maybe the outlier here, along with the Pacific Drive, because those aren't really multiplayer games. But nonetheless, launching Foam Stars 2 days before this game, it's clear that they didn't want to position this game into a way that would be successful overall, I feel like. And so ultimately, I see maybe either A, they thought that this game was going to be bad, they weren't confident in it, so they didn't really give it the proper, bases and elements and server loads to be able to handle this given in Russia people, right? Which, to be fair, also as well, they could have never predicted this amount of people being interested in Helldivers 2. So that's fair, right? Like, I will give them the benefit of the doubt for that. But nonetheless, this is clearly a fumble in terms of side B of this argument, where maybe they just were unaware of what they truly had here with Helldivers 2. Maybe playtesting came back and it wasn't that positive. Maybe the mock reviews came back and it wasn't that positive. So it is very interesting that they just were either A, just not confident, or B, just were not aware of how good Helldivers 2 was going to be. But nonetheless, server issues and all that, I'm going to give them also the benefit of the doubt here. They are working around the clock. We see it here on the tweets. We have the CEO here saying straight up, yo, do not buy the game until we fix our server issues. Like, that is some big stuff to say from a CEO that is running a game studio that is trying to push a game out that is incredibly successful already. So major kudos to the team, major kudos to the CEO, and major kudos to them working around the clock around the server issues. But we gotta put some flame on Sony here. I wish they would, maybe perhaps provide some more backup here, and hopefully we will get those server issues and performance issues ironed out as soon as possible. But look, the real story about this game is that despite the performance issues, despite the server issues that we've been experiencing here in the first couple of days of Helldivers 2, the game is phenomenal. I can't stop playing it. You know what I'm saying? I truly cannot put it down. The only game that's pulling me away from Helldivers 2 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for obvious reasons. But beside that point, why do I love this game, right? I think the gameplay and the gunplay specifically is very, very, very fluid, very nice feeling third-person mechanics. I really like how all the weapons feel and everything. I have a auto rifle that's orange and it's has an explosive quality to it. I have that from the premium battle pass, a very, very powerful weapon. Also, the revolver in the game is very good. Make sure to keep up with that one because that's going to let you pierce through some armor that are on certain enemies in the game. But it is just this really, really fun gunplay style with this leveling that is slow. I'll admit it is a little bit slow, I feel like, to level up, but given that I think the max level is only 50, it's about probably on par with what you would expect from an overall progression system. It just feels a little bit slower just because you're leveling up in smaller increments and a lot slower. But nonetheless, I mean, it does feel great to level up and get more access to new weaponry, to new stratagems, to upgrading your ship to give you a lot more abilities, like making sure the runtime is lower on dropping stratagems and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of different ways that this game can be upgradable in ways that I did not even really conceive in the first Helldivers. Like, it is a very, very cool progression of this IP and a really cool progression of the upgrade system. I think a lot of them are very rewarding. The music here is epic. I mean, if we don't hear that main theme when you're dropping down onto the planet at Game Awards this year with the orchestra, we will be doing the game a disservice. And this year in 2024 a disservice, because that track bangs. If you know, like, you feel like you're about to do something impactful, and that really does tie in to the overall feeling and tone of the game. Like, it really does feel like you are going into battle, you're clearing these planets, you're doing these missions to try and lower the percentage of the occupancy of the enemy on the given planet. And to me, like, it really does feel like I'm playing an episode of Mandalorian. Like, I really feel like I'm in the Mandalorian playing an episode on a bounty, completing a mission, completing a quest, getting some upgrades and all that, and going on about my way on my ship. Like, it feels like a really, really well-refined kind of gameplay system here, and a gameplay loop that I find incredibly satisfying. It is also immensely fun with friends. I've been playing the majority with friends. There's been sometimes I've been playing offline, and like while I don't have as much fun as I do playing with friends, I will say that the way the game feels, the gameplay loop definitely does still hold up from a single player perspective and everything. Is just there's a lot of missions here that you can be very easily ran through and not really be successful without a team. So this is definitely more of a team oriented game. If you can play with friends, definitely do it. And if you don't really have friends to play with, the game does a really good job at finding you people to join your lobby and join your party. And you can also drop an SOS beacon while you're on the planet to be able to get random people into your given mission zone and all that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can play with people without actually, you know, having to talk to them or like interface with them or whatever. And I mean, I feel like the overall Helldivers community as of now are very objective focused. They want to get the job done. They want to get these loot and everything. And when someone gets a resource, it's not just for them, it's for the whole team. So that helps as well. Like, it's a very communal experience where Helldivers are going in, they know what the objective is, they know what to do, and they can get out in a very efficient way. It feels great. I love this game so much, man. And also, to top it all off, man, PC day and date. I think that helps with the player pool. While the servers are still, you know what I'm saying, but I still feel like they are a big help in having this bigger player pool, being able to find more people to play with, whether you are going in solo and just want randoms or you're trying to party up with people and stuff like that. I will say that, you know, in a lot of ways, like, there is a lot of fear around PC day and date because if it's a competitive thing, the PC platform are more prone to cheating and such, as we all know, and stuff like that. But with this being more of a cooperative experience, it feels less like you're being cheated on, you know what I'm saying, and more just like, you know, you might find a PC player do something crazy later on, which we have not seen any real hacking to the game as far as I'm aware, at least. But nonetheless, you can turn off crossplay if you don't want to play with PC players. But overall, man, this game is great. But there is a secret thing that I think is really happening with this game that I think is really the core cream of the crop with this game, right? And that is the premise and context of Helldivers 2. So when you look out on your ship and you see all the different, you know, ships, and you see all the different Helldivers that are dropping into the planet down below while you're in orbit, like, those are real players, right? And they show you stats on the command screen of, you know, when you're choosing a mission, like, hey, there are this many Helldivers on, we're at this percentage of this overall planet that we need to take over and stuff like that and rid the enemies of and everything, whether it be automatons or bugs. Like, it's a very, very communal multiplayer experience that really does bind all of the Helldivers and binds all the players together. Like, we are all in complete unison of one single objective, that is to defend Super Earth and keep progressing on these planets that need progressing to spread and manage democracy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very, like, role-playing multiplayer experience that I think is very crucial to why this is sticking. Like, we are seeing so many memes right now of Helldivers 2. We are seeing ladies act like their man is going into real warfare on Helldivers 2 and how we gotta be, you know, the like backbone to the soldier, and like we gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously those are jokes, but like there is a real tangible feel to like we are all a part of this and we are all a part of something. And it's not just the multiplayer experience where it's PvP and we're playing in the matches and it's maybe, you know, you have just one, you know, tail of a match, right? Like, which is fine, right? Like, you got into a lobby last night that was really dope, right? Like, that can happen in one thing, but it's not particularly a shared experience with the whole populace of the player base. And here with Helldivers 2, that is not the case here. We are all experiencing this one flow of a premise and context that I think is binding a lot of people together and making us really want to talk about this game and join in the fight. And like, when the Arrowhead Studios Twitter account or the Helldivers Twitter account, I forgot which one, but they announced early last week that, hey, there is a big automaton attack and it's happening for about 40 days, I think, and we have to really focus on this automaton attack that's happening because they have infiltrated certain safe Super Earth located planets that are in danger of being overtaken by the automatons. And it's like, that is such a cool way to promote a live service game where it's not just like, hey, here's some new missions, here's some new content, which we will be getting new missions and new content and new weapons down the road as well for free in Helldivers 2, but to have this like global context of this game, I think is really making it shine, and especially for me, and it's really going to, I think, be the main pushing force with this game, that it is a global context and premise that all Helldivers are feeling in Helldivers 2. And while this is something I would love to see, you know, PlayStation keep doing in their multiplayer future games, like with Concord and with Fair Games and whatever else happens, RIP Factions, you know what I'm saying? But down below, guys, what makes me mad too is that Factions could have had this. Factions could have had this easily, but you know what? I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. Down below, what are your thoughts? Do you like this kind of global role-playing type of thing going on with Helldivers 2? What are your thoughts about the game? Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.